everybody. If you tuned in to catch NA's games, don't worry. North America is waiting until we finish our games here in Europe, so you won't miss a thing. But now it's time for our last match of today, the Lemon Dogs versus Ninjas in Pajamas. So let's head right over to Joe and Jason to take us through the action.
Thanks a lot, Shocks. And we got our last game coming up, guys. It's going to be the Lemon Dogs coming off the back of another win against Ninjas in Pajamas, who earlier on in the day lost out to Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, Lemon Dogs are looking to go up 3-1 in this head-to-head matchup, and it's not just pride that's at stake. That would give them the advantage in case there was a tie in the standings, which honestly is a huge deal because thinking that you can go from potentially like second to third just based on a series matchup, that's huge.
Yeah, and things are so, I feel like we're saying it so often because, well, it is just so strange that the standings are right now so very close. So every game counts here, guys. Let's have a look at the two teams, starting on the blue side with the Lemon Dogs. Sorrow Zero in the top lane, Dexter in the jungle, Nuke Duck in the middle lane, Tabs the AD carry, and Mithy the support.
And of course, over for Ninjas Pajamas, you do have Mimer in that top lane, Maluno in the jungle, Bjerg's in the mid lane, and Freeze and Deficio's AD carry and support.
So let's have a look then what you guys at home are thinking from this one. All that voting going on today at lolesports.com. Jason, how's it looking?
54% of you think that Lemon Dogs are going to win this game.
Well, you finally voted again for the Lemon Dogs, which is a great thing considering they are the top team right now. But only 54% surprises me somewhat from that one.
Yeah.
Maybe they know something that we don't about Ninjas in Pajamas. Let's find out. Well, Lemon Dogs, of course, came out flying earlier on against Fnatic, which is just solidified that first place that they've earned earlier on.
And of course, Ninja Pajamas lost earlier on today against a good-looking Evil Geniuses, which at this point, they really can't afford to do.
So Lemon Dogs have been building slowly, I think it's safe to say, throughout the course of the season, but very consistently as well. They've not really stumbled at all. The only real blips that they had were, well, think back to that Week 6 game against Gambit where they got destroyed, I think we can quite safely say. But overall, they're just an incredibly solid team, and they've been at least 2 for 1, always positive win-loss ratios ever since that Week 6 blip.
And that's really hard to do, considering the amount of teams and the skill we have here in Europe. But Lemon Dogs really come into their own when they picked up Mithy. He's become an integral part of the team, and you don't really see the team's KDA really shoot up with the new support, but the fact that Lemon Dogs are 10-3 since added him gives you an idea of his impact.
Yeah, and he's brought a new level of humility and thoughtful play to the Lemon Dogs in the start of this split. They were a little bit cocky, I think we can safely say, when they had a win. And, well, they went on to lose the next one. They were all a little bit inconsistent, but with Mithy there, they seem like they're learning a lot from every single match, just due to the fact that he is such a smart, analytical player.
He's a brain.
He is a brain.
That's what I look at him as. And one thing that's made Lemon Dogs excel in their games is the fact that Nuke Duck and Tabs are really able to push them in the right direction. And that's the danger behind their team. If you would punish Nuke Duck and Tabs, then their top laner Zorzo can kind of bring the game back in their own favor. He's been constantly pushing that top lane. But what he does so well is what he does after that point, when his turret goes down. He consistently farms, and his timing at appearing in teamfights is spotless. He really helps carry the Lemon Dogs to victory.
Well, let's talk a little bit about their opponents here, Ninjas in Pajamas. And specifically their bottom lane, I think. Since adding Freeze as the AD carry, Deficio's KDA, his support player, is up to 7.7. With a number like that, you almost kind of forget that he's a support. There's a very close-up shot of Freeze's eyes, just so you can see maybe what goes on in his brain. That's how close-up that shot is there. Freeze himself, the man on your screen right there, has a KDA ratio of 5.4, which is the second highest for AD carries in the league. And I believe coming into today, the third highest overall, actually, behind Creaton and Deficio. And as I said, Creaton is the only person in the entire league right now that's got a higher KDA than both of the NIP bottom laners.
Yeah, that's just crazy. That shows you where NIP is really strong, and Ninja Pajamas have been really counting on that bottom lane to put out some extraordinary games. NIP have only played Lemon Dogs once with Freeze and Deficio together in that bottom, but when they did, Deficio had a KDA of 8, and Freeze had a KDA of 7, and that was during a loss. If everything clicks for Ninja Pajamas, they could have a big game. And remember, there's something really big about Freeze is that Edward, you know, obviously previously from Gambit, now over in Curse and NA, he always said Freeze is the best AD carry in Europe, and he's honestly proven it since he's been here.
Well, Creaton might have something to say about that one.
I think RNA is the one that always says it about him.
Yeah, it is. So it is RNA that bigs up Creaton, I think, more than Creaton himself. So we're going to get into champion select here, and Ban's actually coming in thick and fast from this one, so I'm not even going to ask you this time, Jason, what you think, because you're just going to cheat. Kassadin and Shen banned out, first of all, for Lemondogs. No Kassadin for Bjergsen, no Shen for Mima coming into this one. On the other side, Kennen banned out towards Zora Zero. Thresh for Mithy. You heard him in the interview earlier on today. He said, I told you guys, if we get Thresh, we win. A little bit cocky, maybe, but enough to earn him a ban here.
Yeah, and I know he's a little sad. You know he wants to play Thresh. We actually heard from Cripple that he always loves playing Thresh, just doesn't seem to get the opportunity to since it's taken away from him quite a bit. But the Zed ban coming in as well behind that. They really want to limit Bjergsen. They don't want to let him get to that power where he can just roam around and create these opportunities. And that's what he always seems to do. So if you shut him down, as long as you can control Freeze and Deficio, you pretty much have a strong game.
So we saw the first pick there, Jarvan. And that is the most highly contested jungler between these two teams. Both junglers, both Maluno and Dexter, have played Jarvan more than any other champion so far this season. So not a surprise to see that locked in there first. Caitlyn going to be picked up here by Freeze, and a Zac as well. And
I want to mention something here is that Lemondogs are on the blue side, and I talked earlier when they were playing against Fnatic that on the red side, Nukeduck's done so well against Peke because he has the opportunity to counterpick him. I wonder if that might come into effect here. But the Caitlyn pickup for Freeze, we saw him originally on these really aggressive AD carries, but when he plays passive AD carries, he still does as well. He can farm up really well. They can actually get quite a few kills at Deficio, well, if he had Thresh, honestly, or maybe even Nami if he does go for that one.
Well, and for Lemondogs, we're going to see the Rat coming in again for Tabs, and a Sona pickup here for Mithy, which is actually a champion that he's got a 100% win ratio with. 3 games played, 3 games won. Can't say anything bad about that.
Maybe that's why they don't let him play Thresh. Like, you're 100% on Sona. Let's just keep you on that champion for a little bit longer. So it's going to be a really interesting lane. It's going to be very strong as well. You have the poke out of Sona. You have the damage out of Twitch early on, not to mention that true damage off his passive. So I want to know if they're going to go up against this Caitlyn lane or maybe lane swap a little bit, because Caitlyn does decently well against Twitch. You can obviously have the range advantage over him. You have an escape, which Twitch doesn't have. So we're going to see how that one's going to work out.
Well, what are Ninjas in Pajamas going to do? We're thinking mid lane. Going to be left till last pick. There's probably no question about that one so far.
Look at his face. I mean, no, he's like really contemplating. He's like, this is not how I pictured it. And that is a really worrying sign for me for NIP.
Well, we'll see. They're going to lock in their Nami, who is a big pick for Deficio. We know that he's an incredible Nami player, so he's going to go with that one. They picked up Nasus here for the jungle, which almost guarantees that Mima's going to have that Zac in the top lane, with the Nasus going over towards Bluno. On the other side, Vladimir and Twisted Fate picked up for Lemondogs. That gives Ninjas in Pajamas now the chance to counter that Twisted Fate.
Yeah, it does. And what do they counter it with, though? Because Kassadin's taken out. I mean, Ari is available and it's a safe pick. Obviously not a straight counter, but it's... Actually, I think she gets countered by Twisted Fate in the end, but he needs someone that does a lot of damage. That's what they've always depended on with him, and that's what he has to play. That is actually not a bad pick.
Well, I mean, you're going to have Zac going in there. You're going to have Nasus going straight in there as well. Maybe they'll go in there for that Fizz here for Bjergsen. See what he can do in the lane against Twisted Fate. Well, about 20 seconds, you can see there how much discussion's going on between the Ninjas in Pajamas players to find that right pick for the team now.
I mean, they kind of realized with their loss earlier on today, like, if they lose one more, they could be out of playoff contention. Looks like he actually might go another for champion, but Nukeduck on Twisted Fate most likely this game. He actually ran it against him in week 6, where Lemondogs came out with a nice victory when he's playing against a Kassadin. So he played against a counter and still won that lane either way.
Well, this time around it is going to be Karthus. We've seen him a lot today. We've seen Ocelot play, we've seen Alex H play him as well. So, you know, this Karthus, we'll see how he builds. Probably not going to go 3 blasting ones in a row, but that depends how the game goes here for Ninjas in Pajamas. Who are you fancying from this one?
Well, Lemondogs have an interesting teamfight composition. So you have the whole, let's get them into Cataclysm, let's pop the Vladimir ulti on top of them, let's pop the Crescendo, the Spray and Pray, and just kind of tear them down one by one, which it can work out really well. But NIP, they don't really have a composition necessarily. They're just playing kind of comfort champions at this point, where they don't really have a team fight comp. They don't really have a dueling composition either, but it all comes down to, I mean, you could talk about compositions all day long if you want to, but if one team gets 10 kills against a perfect composition for late game or something like that, it doesn't matter. in the end.
Yeah, and I think Nukedog's going to have to be a man to watch for us in this game as well. We know how much he likes to roam. You know, that's one of Nukedog's stronger points, and well, that becomes all that much easier when you've got Destiny in your arsenal there with Twisted Fate.
I think one big point of contention during this game is going to be Dragons. It's been so impactful all day long. We've seen it just so many different games, except Gambit versus Dimitri Makers, where Dimitri Makers got the first one. But why I say that is that in this matchup between these two teams, Lemondogs has 11 Dragons to 1 of NIP. That's just not good. That's not a good sign, period. I mean, we talked about NIP in the first couple of weeks. They had the least amount of Dragons taken, and they've stayed that way. They stayed at the least amount of Dragons taken throughout the entirety of the summer split, and that's something that you can't let go. Like, you need to force these Dragons a little bit more, and they might have a team that can do that.
Well, we just saw Lemondogs on your screen, looking very, very confident, laughing and joking. Ninjas in Pajamas look almost the opposite to that right now. A worried look, I'd say, on Bjergsen's face at this point, but we'll see what that transcends to here in game. There's Deficio as well, as I said. So great so far this season in that support role. Gonna have his Nami here as we get into game with Lemondogs versus Ninjas in Pajamas.
Yeah, and I've actually had the luxury of hearing NIP talk about their picks and bans. Like, before the game actually starts, there's one in particular against Gambit, and they spend a lot of time analyzing what they want to go. And the fact that Bjergsen was looking so confused led me to believe that I guess they assumed wrong in what they wanted. So I wonder if that's going to affect them throughout the rest of the game. But we are underway, and level 1 action, you have a stun card out of Nukeduck. Don't really have anything to pair that into with on the rest of his team, but NIP does have a bubble. But then again, I mean, with how much these games meme, with how much a level 1 can impact the entirety of the game, there's no point in doing anything crazy.
So let's see, Lemondogs as a 5-man unit here on the top side of the map. Bit more spread out on their opponents, Ninjas in Pajamas right now. A couple of men on the bottom side, a couple right up here in Lemondogs' faces. Those layways having to be dodged and being dodged quite magnificently there by Mithy, all up until I make the point of it, and then he catches a direct 2 in the face. There's a bubble coming out. Maluno coming forward here as well, and they're really quite edgy at this point. But in the end, Lemondogs just going to back off. Mithy's going to recall. They've got the vision down that they wanted.
And yeah, it's going to make it so Maluno will be spotted around the map on this Nasus. He's not running Ghost. He wants to be able to get out of that Cataclysm, which is going to help quite a bit. Not to mention that Flash Wither, which is really going to punish Tabs quite a bit as they're spamming those pings down constantly. But you can't see right now. Nami is towards the top side of the map. So is Freeze. So we might see the AD carry support go top lane together.
Yeah, it looks that way. Deficio just bubbling up inside of the brush there just to make sure there was no nasty surprise hidden in it there for him. And there you see the statistics for Deficio Yonami. 10 times picked so far, 60% win ratio. Definitely not bad statistically. As the blue buff start there coming out for Dexter's Jarvan, he's going to be helped out by his duo lane. We're going to see roles, positions a little bit reverse here. 2v2 in the top side, 1v1 down bottom.
That was really smart by NIP. Because they knew Lemondogs would come up the river like that, they're able to get a little bit of harass down, able to deny him 1 or 2 CS, so depending on how quick the AD carries push the lane, they're going to get that level 2 first, which makes it so they can actually zone the other AD carry support lanes. But just like you're saying, lanes are swapped. And Vladimir Razak, I don't think we've ever seen that matchup happen yet in the European LCS.
Well, interesting to see how it goes. Both have gone Doran's Shield at the start of this one. You can see that
That's really weird.
Biscuit for Vladimir, so he's gone deep into utility there as well.
That's a really weird item to pick up for at least Zora Zero. He's not really going to be out-attacked too much by Mimer. But obviously the region's going to help out quite a bit. He could have taken maybe the Rejuve bead in 5 pots and then built up towards a magic resist item, but obviously, we're going to see how it's going to work out.
Either that, or they figured he was going to be in a 2v1 lane.
That is true. Actually, that is probably the best point.
Yeah, that's not the case this time around, though. Him against Mimer, the newest of the new in Ninjas in Pajamas. Obviously, they switched out 3 men earlier in the season. Since then, Extinct leaving the team, Mimer coming in. Hard to judge his performances for me on a really reliable level there as Freeze. And Tabs exchange a bit of damage. Actually, Mithy taking quite a lot here as he gives out that heal as well. But I think hard to judge Mimer's performance overall. We've not seen too much to really talk about on a massive level from him.
I think one thing that you can look at with him is how much the jungler's been interacting with this lane, like Maluno. And we've seen over this week so far, with at least in their game versus EG, he's been a lot more independent. He hasn't needed the jungle to come as much. He's not winning in CS. He's actually was behind Wicked about 20 or 30, but that shows that he doesn't need Maluno camping, and because of that, that allows Maluno to gank Bjergsen's lane, to gank Frieza and Deficio's lane, to really get them snowballing. So I agree, it's really hard to tell how hard or how far he's come, but that is one at least good sign for them.
So, and we see once again, Dexter, typical Lemondogs fashion, he's camping that middle lane. He's just been waiting there for such a long time to get in on towards Bjergsen, and we've seen that time and time and time again from him, trying to get his mid laner snowballing. Once that kind of is set in motion, a couple of kills for Nukeduck, then he'll move elsewhere and try and get the same pattern rolling there as well.
And Krepo was actually talking to us, I believe, during a couple of games ago, saying that Nukeduck never wards. He always has Dexter do it for him, and that kind of shows where the focus of their team is. It's like, you know, EG, where they used to focus on Frog and get him the kills, get him the farm, and it's pretty much the same with Nukeduck, where Tabs is off pretty much farming by himself. He's coming around yet again for a gank here, but Maluno, he's actually going to get spotted by this ward, and he's going to head down towards the bottom. Yeah,
he's headed away, and that could be a real opportunity now. They're going to know, Vladimir, Zoro0's going to know down in that bottom lane what's going on there. Meanwhile, in this top lane, actually, barrier being forced there by Freeze. Dexter did come in towards Bjergsen. Bjergsen able to get away from that one without needing to use his flash, crucially. And let's not forget as well that he's running teleport. I don't think we touched on that yet.
Yeah, he has not. And we do see Maluno coming on bottom for the first time. But that teleport, yeah, we'll see how that one's going to work out for him. If he goes home guard boots, that's very scary to see. Like a home guard boot teleporting in Karthus right in your face. And we see how well it's going to go as the game goes on.
Well, speaking of summoners, Zoro0 there with Vladimir. No offensive summoners picked up in this one. Ghost Flash going in there, so he wants to be very, very safe. And with those two combined, even with a Wither on him, he should be relatively, you know, safe in that lane.
And the thing is, with those summoners, he's not running anything aggressive. But if you look at it in terms of Vladimir's kind of slow, and you need to be in the middle of the enemy team to really do your damage with your E, your Tides of Blood, just to keep spamming it over and over. So the Ghost Flash, it gives him that opportunity, it gives him the safety in lane, and it also gives him that potential late game when he needs to be in the middle of the fight.
So this top lane, probably been the closest we've seen so far to a first blood in this game. We're 6 minutes and 10 seconds in as a bit of a pink war goes on there in the Tribush. And Ninjas in Pajamas getting the better of that one so far. And that's an interesting first choice here for Nukeduck. Boots of Swiftness picked up with the second Doran's Ring.
It's not bad. I mean, there's a couple of different items he could have gone, but with that, it means he can dodge the Skittles a lot easier against Bjergsen. Bjergsen can't run from him unless he walks into a wall of pain. This gives him an opportunity to really go for some kill potential middle. Not to mention, if he does decide to gank, because he is level 6, he's disappeared from lane, but he's not really ready to gank anything just yet.
So one thing that's really in the past been strong for Lemondogs is Dexter's presence of being able to, well, sometimes him getting going or being able to get other lanes going from this. Up until now, NIP have played so defensively. I don't think we've seen the AD carry support come past the halfway point of this top lane, for example. Vladimir has stayed pretty much glued to his turret that whole time. They're not letting, sorry, Zach is pushed up there, but Bjergsen is sat pretty much on his tower this whole time. They're not letting Dexter have any opportunities to get in there.
Yeah, and because of that, it means Nukeduck won't get that farmed. And if anything, Tabs won't get any kills, but he'll be able to get the CS in lane. I mean, he's ahead currently right now to a Caitlyn, which is really hard to do. But that's a very good point. I mean, Dexter's just not able to get going. I mean, we talked about him and Nukeduck kind of getting the game snowballing for Lemondogs. And I wonder, it's not really worrisome to me just yet, because Lemondogs, they can still play a really great late game, but it's definitely not the position they want to be in.
So let's have a look down some of the farm here, because, well, there's not a massive difference really anywhere on the map. Yes, a slight advantage for Twitch over Caitlyn up in this top lane, which is all going to come back with that next wave. Mid lane is within 3 CS. Top lane is bang even as well. So very close on that front. Dexter has just come up to this top lane, but it's bad timing for them. NIP are recalling.
So he's going to go back and buy at the same time as NIP will in that top lane. And it looks like Mithy was able to hold that wave from hitting the turret, so it's going to be pushed up against his own turret, which now it gives Dexter the opportunity to gank that top lane, because Freeze will have to go past that halfway point to go for any CS.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do, carve that opening for Dexter to come and get that ball rolling. So far though, NIP quite happy to sit back and play that farming game, which Nukeduck just has finally got himself a bigger lead there on Bjergsen, who went back for that blue buff. So we've not seen the teleport being used yet by Bjergsen. We've not seen Nukeduck using his destiny to get involved. Overall, a fairly quiet first 8.5 minutes.
I think it might pick up very soon. And I say that because Maluno has pink ward. He's level 6. He's just pretty much been farming the entire time in the jungle. He showed bottom once, but I think he wants to go for a very, very early dragon here.
Well, 9 minutes in, and as you said, hit level 6. Perfect time for him to go in there. There is a ward in as Dexter actually going to go over the wall from this one so as not to be spotted by Bjergsen. Should mention Bjergsen has flash. The last game, Dexter did flash in onto that mid lane as well to try and pick himself up some kills. But at this stage, it looks like they're just going to go down towards the dragon. Pink ward put down there just to get that vision advantage, but not actually going for it up until now.
Yeah, they were pretty much like a step ahead of NIP right there. Like, they knew Maluno would try to go for something like that, so Dexter came out of base with a pink ward of himself to kind of just take that vision away, and that kind of gives, I think, Lemondog an advantage, because it hurts NIP considering that they were expecting to go for something like that. When you have a Nasus, you expect a relatively early dragon because of the damage that he can do to that dragon with his ultimate.
Let's have a look down. A couple of items here being picked up. The mid laners, as I mentioned earlier, is Boots of Swiftness plus double Doran's Ring for Twisted Fate. On the other side, Karthus got his Catalyst the Protector already in there. And the solo lanes as well, who are bang level on CS. The Revolver plus a Negatron Cloak being picked up as there's more pink walls going down by Dragon Maluno. It's like, yeah, now I'm ahead of this one. Are you going to come back and pink ward again? Probably are at some point. But on the other side, Haunting guys, obviously that Doran shield from the start, also with Boots in there for Mima Zach.
And the thing is, if they do go for Dragon, I keep talking about it because it's a really big deal. Like I mentioned before, Lemondog's having 11-1 in this series of Dragons. And NIP with Bjergsen being on Karthus, like, you always have that global presence. So if you do start that Dragon, if Lemondog's tries to go for an engage on it or trying to go for a steal, pop that ultimate, you'll pretty much deter them from going from that.
Well, certainly, without question, I think the most passive start that we've had to a game so far today, which... No, we're at a tight point of the season for Ninjas in Pajamas, especially here. With a couple of teams ahead of them picking up wins. SK on their trail at this point as well. This one is a very valuable win, and there's another ward cleared out by Maluno and another pink off towards Dragon. Are they going to start it off, though? Here's my question thoroughly answered. It makes it harder, the fact that the duo lanes are in the top lane. It makes it so it's harder to get in there and actually, you know, have a go at this the Dragon. Yeah, exactly. And because of that, they just like I said, they can't go bottom. They can't really go for that Dragon. And right now, I think Zorozer would kind of have the advantage in terms of the fight with his ultimate. So impactful if you can hit it onto multiple targets. Not to mention the damage amplification that you get from it. So I was an almost attack from both sides. We almost saw a fight. Not quite. Not quite, but that's going to come at this point. And as you said, you can understand it. There's a lot on the line for both of these teams. Lemondogs don't want to be giving up losses right now. They want that first place. We missed something down at the bottom there. Zoro going offensive at this point. He's now up to level 10 as Maluno has worked himself in, but there's a ward in the side brush, and he's going to be spotted by that one. Should signal a retreat from Lemondog. It's probably going to all come down to whether they can bubble anyone up, as Mithy is going to manage to land his crescendo. Deficio going very low. There's the expunge. Here comes a Requiem out of Karthus. Maluno going super low there as well. They're going to be able to kill him. There is a teleport coming out now for Bjergsen. But what is he really going to be able to do? Mithy actually going back in. There's a stun going down. Bjergsen not going to get any more from that. And just like that, first blood comes with a double in the top lane. That is really unfortunate for Bjergsen too, because if he just ulted from that middle lane, he would have killed Tabs, but he kept his health. He had his health pot going. He had the Build-Drawn Cutlass to heal up, so the damage or the possibility of killing him goes out the window. And I was just gonna say before that fight broke out that games like this are ticking time bombs. Eventually, you'll get to that point where it gets explosive, and because of those 2 kills they just got, they get a mid-turret off that as well. They get a nice, huge gold lead, and they have the potential to go for Dragon soon now. Yeah, that's surely the next big thing coming up. The duo lane from top has just recalled. We'll see if they actually end up going Dragon direction from this. Zoro and Mima just butting heads down in this bottom lane. I don't think without a full-on all-in from either of these players that they'd be able to take each other down without any outside interference. So we'll see how that one goes for them. As finally, we see Dexter off in the enemy jungle here. Gonna try and take away that blue buff, and this would be a big pickup against Karthus. Yeah, this is huge. If you can keep it off of him, he doesn't have a tier stacking right now. He has a Rod of Ages, but
you need that mana as a card list. Like, you need that potential. And with it being shut down, Lemondogs are just kind of working it step by step. I mean, it's just a guidebook or a playbook they have just to do step 1, do step 2, and win the game. And so far, it's been working out for them.
And they've just seen the fact that that blue buff has been picked up there by the Jarvan. And Bjergsen has to be all the more careful now. With his turret gone down on the outer, we've seen that Dexter is not shy about flashing in to get the knock-up.
Oh no! Poor
wow.
Maluno. Oh, he's walking with his head down. Like, damn.
Tail between his legs, I think, is what it is as a dog. That's what happens. But yeah, not quite able to get in there and pick up that. But at least Lemondogs healthy here. 2,500 gold, the advantage that they've got. Here we go. Now there's chance for Maluno. And this time he gets the better of him.
Redemption right there.
Well, if I was Zoro0, I'd be having none of that, and I'd recall and instantly buy another pink ward.
And that's why we're not pro players, Joe.
Get stuck in this little mini game of clearing out the pink ward on the dragon. But there is another one. Yay! That one goes down. I don't like the whole cheering for wards, but that has actually been more kills than in the entire game by about tenfold, I think.
There's been more action at the dragon pit.
The dragon pit clearing out wards. But it's a solid start for Lemondogs. I don't want to take that away from them. AD carry and the mid laner picking up the kills as well. Very, very good start for Lemondogs.
And something that's really important here that you have to say is that the dragon control Lemondogs are investing into. Actually, I'll get back to that in a second. I think tabs, no, might not go in. So the pink wards that they put into Dragon, like how much money they invested into this, it's denying NIP the chance to take Dragon. And we've seen many games of Gambit versus Lemondogs where Lemondogs went for that double middle turret push onto them. And I can't remember exactly what week that was, but Gambit responded by taking a Dragon right after to kind of rekindle that goal that they missed or recoup that goal that they missed. So yeah, I mean, they're not getting Dragon, but they're preventing NIP, and I think that's the big story.
Oh, I see more pink wards doing the work there around that middle area. There's a win coming out for Nukeduck as Freeze again going to take a bit of a blast coming out of tabs. Actually, Pops is spray and pray for that one as well. Zoro0 has managed to force out Mimer enough from this bottom lane to actually take out that turret, and now Lemondogs are putting pressure on the top as well. Maluno coming around the side though. Let's see if he can get in.
Looks like he won't be able to, and I'm actually really curious, and I don't mean any disrespect by this, but Devicio hasn't played Nami in a while, but he hasn't really hit any bubbles lately. And I wonder if that means he hasn't been practicing it either, because he used to be so good at that, but he hasn't been able to make plays yet.
Well, he'll be looking to burst your bubble and prove you wrong later on. So, hopefully. Dragon, there he is finally taken down after about 30,000 pink wards have gone down around him for the battle of control, but Lemondogs winning out on that front. Finally just walked in there and took that one away, and that will increase their gold lead to almost 5,000.
And funny enough, in their series together in these 3 games, even where the game that Lemondogs lost, Lemondogs have gotten every first blood and every first dragon so far. So that kind of shows that they're up for a very early aggressive start, and they kind of carry that through.
Well, right now, Lemondogs are headed towards this top side. Maluno, he's not going to spot them coming in there. So Dex has actually got in. Well, those wild cards just gave it away coming flying through, but Dexter got in there completely sneakily. Nukeduck's like, we're here! Wild cards, cards for all. Yeah. But yeah, that obviously didn't work out. They were starting to back away there, Ninjas in Pajamas anyway, so not really too much danger on that front. Zoro0 and Mimer, they've had a little bit of an engage. Zoro0 obviously coming out on top of CS. He's taken the turret down, done a fantastic job in the lane phase. And the junglers have not really been down. I think Maluno's been there once, which was very early on, and nothing happened from that when he ended up recalling straight out. So these two have really been left to a very, lonesome existence down there to just farm. And
what really sucks for Mimer is the fact that he can't really push out too far because there's a twist of fate in the game. He could just come and gank him, who's actually really strong. He has a death cap already. And with that turret going down, Lemondogs have been able to get ward control of that blue buff, which we talked about earlier, how important it is for Bjergsen to get. And he might be denied his second one of the game here.
Well, if we look down the items here as well, between the two AD carries, which are both at 151 CS right now, Blade of the Ruin King, Pickaxe, and a Longsword being picked up so far by Twitch. On the other side, BF Sword and Pickaxe for Freeze's Caitlyn.
So he's really trying to wait for that Infinity Edge. He wants that big power spike as Dexter's going in, but no one else is really there to help him out, so he's going to be forced to back away. And right now we see actually Zoro0 going towards his top side. And I mentioned earlier before the match started that Zoro0, like, if you are aggressive against him and you take his turret, he'll just be smart, he'll farm up, and he will, obviously show up at a team fight at the perfect moment, but right now, hasn't lost his turret, and he's being fed a lot of free farm in this top lane now.
Look at this timing here on that blue buff once again. He's going to go over to Nukeduck, stolen away, and wonder if we're going to see a play on the other side here from Ninjas in Pajamas to try and bring that one a bit more level. There's 4 men coming down, but you just don't simply chase a Jarvan like that. He will just escape you. And even doesn't need to slide away from that. Ninjas in Pajamas not pushing through. And for good reason, Zoro pushed all the way up to that inner turret on the top lane now.
And they don't really have anyone to deal with him. Freeze isn't strong enough yet, doesn't have his Infinity Edge, and he has magic resist as Bjergsen getting caught.
Yeah, getting knocked up there, but again, no one around to actually give him any backup. Nukeduck was out of reach. And in the meantime, red buff was stolen away by Zoro, who's now returning back up towards his top lane. Gonna get himself some more farm and not even be scared at Mima because he's got that level advantage on him right now. He's got a decent amount of magic resist. He's got decent damage coming in there as well. You see half of Mima's health gone instantly as he comes up to the top.
And if you look at this game, Lemondogs are playing this so perfect right now. I mean, it's just by the book, but what you see them doing is they're taking away buffs as much as possible. Freeze could potentially be killed right here as Twist of Fate's coming in.
There's the slow and the flash away. Only a slow card pulled out there, but Spray and Pray going to give Tabs the range. Nicely executed. Patient play there from Tabs, really setting them up.
And that was Freeze farming at his own turret. And he can't even do that safely now. That just shows you how much in control Lemondogs are of this game.
Now we see the turret going to go down. Lemondogs picking up number 4 of the game. And I tell you what, the gold has doubled in terms of the lead here for Lemondogs. They're almost 10,000 ahead now.
And it's just crazy considering there hasn't been that many kills so far. It's just all about the control of objectives right now. Zoro still left alone in this top lane. Mimer's the one that has to deal with him, and yet he can't even afford to do that. As you see these duels go back and forth in Zoro's favor. And NIP, they're being really reactive to everything Lemondogs are doing, but they can't afford to do that because as you can see, they're losing too much.
Yeah. Losing out on this one. We've got a Lich Bane now done for Nukeduck, which is going to make him such a terror for this split pushing and getting in there on towards buildings, and we'll see how he goes from that. We saw the Zhonya's Hourglass picked up now for Zoro. Zero's done enough farm work in that top lane to add that into the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, plus the Negatron Cloak from a little bit earlier on. We've got the Aegis finished as well for Dexter.
And one thing that's a good sign for NIP right now is that, yeah, they're behind in items to Lemondogs, but look at the wave clear they have on their team. Pretty much everyone can help out with that. So that means that Lemondogs, they can't really dive into a turret, at least siege a turret down against them, so they're going to have to go for a heavy engage. And as long as NIP, they keep up decently well on farm, as they keep that gold coming in, they still can win this game.
Twitch now got his last Whisper added in there as well, so he's going to be shredding everyone. See where he goes next as Zoro just charging himself up there to get that extra damage on towards Mima. I'm actually going to slingshot in here from the backside. Zoro gets hit with it and says, well, don't really care too much. Destiny coming out as well, and Nukeduck going in on towards Bjergsen. Here comes Tabs, the rat coming out of the jungle there. But now we are going to see him go down. Requiem comes around, and that will be a kill back for Bjergsen.
Great job by him. He gets actually a much needed kill for him. He's going to be able to get his death cap relatively soon right now. As you saw, Nukeduck, he actually threw his wild cards last second at that bottom lane. Like, come on, one more CS at least. Let me get something. But in the end, he doesn't get anything right there. And Lemondogs are going to be able to get Dragon off the back of this. And that was ultimate committed by Bjergsen too, who doesn't have the blue buff, doesn't have cooldown reduction. So it's going to be on a cooldown for a very long time.
And they're just 500 gold away from making it a 10,000 gold lead here, Lemondogs. It's not been spectacular in terms of kills and masses of action here, but the way that Lemondogs have executed this plan has just been pure controlled perfection.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like watching, but as an analysis point of view, it's actually like very intriguing to see how they're picking NIP apart step by step, and they're just doing a phenomenal job of it. I mean, they're still keeping all lanes pushed up. Zoro is being left alone in this top lane. He has 248 farm most of the game at this point, and no one can 1v1 him. That is a bad side for NIP. They're going to have to let that turret go down eventually, but they are feeding a lot of farm over to Bjergsen, which is very common of NIP. That's what they always seem to do. And then we'll see a lot of farm being fed into Freeze as well, who can only get stronger at this point.
Now we see Mima once again going up to the top. He's now, I remember just a few moments ago saying that Mima is 1 level behind, might not be able to stand up there. Now he's 3 levels behind, or 2 levels behind, as he just at level 17. Is Maluno now going to come over there? finishes off a creep on his way through, and Zoro just turns around and said, really, do you think you can do that? I don't think you can. And Lemondogs are pushing middle.
And he doesn't have any wards in the top lane, so he just doesn't care at all. As he just puts one down, does have those pink wards in the top side. And yeah, Lester Lemondogs had the blue left timer yet again. Third one in a row going to be stolen away from NIP, and this has got to be hurting Bjergsen. Like, this really has to hurt him. But they still can't just siege away at middle. I mean, that's one of the last 2 remaining tier 2 turrets of the game for Lemondogs.
Solid buff control overall here from the Lemondogs. Maluno going to get stunned up here. This could be bad. Crescendo coming in. There's a Cataclysm flashed away from Maluno, biding his time there until Dexter actually went in from that one. Well, they forced him away, and that might give them that opportunity, especially with the Lich Bane, Rabadon's Death Cap on Twisted Fate. That inner turret probably won't last more than 2 or 3 hits.
That was a lot committed, though, for that out of Lemondogs. And he used 2 ultimates to lock him down. He still was able to escape. Looks like he'll be able to return just in time. He doesn't have tier 2 boots just yet. But still, the wave clear yet again out of Bjergsen's able to keep them pushed off the turret for a little bit longer. But I'm pretty sure they can just run in there, take it when they want to with that Lich Bane on Twisted Fate, just like you mentioned, and not really worry too much.
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the problem that you face, that you can take down those turrets so fast. Zoro Zero is going to get himself another red buff here. That he's literally gone between top lane, the golems, and red buff here for the last 5 minutes, and now they're going to go in for this turret, and it is going to go down. Nothing that they can do to stop this happening. And
he's sitting on 2,200 gold, Joe. He has not left that lane in a long time. And when he does go back, I'd imagine he would just pick up some more ability power because he realizes no one at NIP has the damage to take him down. And here's the big point for NIP. Can they hold these inhibitor turrets? Because if they can't do this, they are in trouble.
Great move out there from Dexter, but it looks like NMP actually going to try and do some damage here with this one. There was a stun card pulled by Nuke Duck, and that kind of sent NIP packing from that. They're like, let's not get stunned up and end up having this one turning around. Meanwhile, you see there in the bottom left, Twitch is pushing in towards that inhibitor turret. He's got it incredibly low as well, so great play coming out of Tabs.
And that's how they're trying to crack the shell. That's NIP. Just pretty much split push out because they have 3 people that can really do it at this point. And as long as you do that, like, they're forced to defend somewhere, and eventually one turret will go down. The bottom one, like you said, very low. The top one already took a good bit amount of damage. And NIP, they've been on their, like, third of the map. I'm not even gonna say half of the map, the third of the map for a good 15 minutes now.
Yeah, this is a strong performance from Lemondogs once again. We've just seen a few more items. Void Staff for Twisted Fate.
Why not?
Just in case he wasn't doing enough damage. And Needlessly Large Rod added in for Vladimir. And the Phantom Dancer finished up for Tabs here on the Twitch, who's now on your screen, getting himself a red buff. Something that Freeze can only dream of, because Zoro Zero has been stealing them all for the last 10 minutes of the game.
I don't know if he remembers what it feels like to have a red buff anymore, to have a solid auto attack. But also, Zoro Zero did pick up cooldown boots, the Ionian boots, which gives him 32% cooldown reduction, which means he can spam a lot more abilities in the fights. And there was a certain point, I remember talking with Salsi, who was an ex-pro player in North America, and he said cooldown reduction versus like penetration versus ability power on Vladimir is very unique because he's very cooldown based on terms of his abilities, where yeah, you can get an extra 20, 30 ability power, but maybe an extra 10% cooldown reduction would give you that extra spell, which in the end would give you more damage overall. And it looks like that's kind of what he's prioritized. But then again, he's not being stopped in lane. He's not being stopped by anyone. He has almost 300 CS now, 27 minutes in. He's going to have a Baron buff behind this. He can build whatever he wants.
Look at this. Lemondog has started off Baron. Nip have come in from the backside there as the wall of pain goes down. Baron is very low, taken there by Dexter. He will smite that one off. Are they going to go in for the attack? Here comes Zoro Zero from the side. Bjergsen absolutely melted in that one. Zoro Zero on the top side. There is a Requiem coming in. There's a 3-man crescendo as well. Mimer at the back doing a good job. He's going to get his passive procs as Freeze will pick up one as well. And actually, this is not looking all that bad, but NIP are getting very, very low in this one. There's the wither down. Zoro Zero still have his flash available if he wants to go super aggressive, but in the end, his life, and more importantly, that Baron buff, definitely going to be worth more. And now they can put down some good damage, especially with Nuke Duck there onto this turret.
And that was a 2-for-2 against the Baron up Lemondogs. I mean, I will say this though, Zoro Zero, he did ghost in and only ult Bjergsen because they just wanted to kill him, but you saw how fast he dropped either way, so he didn't really need that. Could use it on someone else, and if he hit it Freeze with it, pretty sure he would have killed him. But still, that might be what NIP needs to kind of get back in here. I mean, they're going to lose one inhibitor turret, but they didn't lose the inhibitor, and that's key.
Inhibitor still there, a prime target in the coming moments. See another 2,000 gold on Zoro Zero to be spent. Actually, Jarvan did just pick up a giant belt, I believe, added in there towards that Aegis from earlier on. So, Another needlessly large rod for NukeDuck. Well, he's got a lot of damage right now. He is incredibly deadly, and your turrets don't last long against him. That's a problem, really, with his Twisted Fate. Not just the damage he can do to your champions, but how much he can put down onto what's remaining, at least, of NIP's base.
And not to mention the wave clear that he gets from it on top of that, because we talked about NIP having great wave clear to keep the lane pushed out, but so does NukeDuck. One wild cards combo and one red card can clear an entire wave himself. Not to mention you have 0-0 to do some damage, and then the rest of tabs as well. But it's kind of forced NIP to make a move, and I think they can afford to potentially lose one inhibitor, but if they get a fight at the second inhibitor turret, they have to go for it. Like, they cannot afford to let two go down when they're already down this much gold.
Dexter just having a bit of a scout up towards the base. The rest of his team are pushing on, well, all fronts, really. We've got NukeDuck pushing up the middle, 0-0 is pushing out the top, and NIP are going to have to decide here, where are we defending? How are we going to defend this one? Freeze has been sent up towards the top, the other four waiting on this bottom side.
The thing is, can they defend? They're down 16,000 gold, as we do see Dexter going in a little bit here. That's 16,000 gold, 29 minutes in, almost 30, with an inhibitor open to be taken right here. Lemondogs, the cards are in their hand. If they don't mess up, they don't make a major mistake, then they will win this game.
The cards are in NukeDuck's hands. Not sure you even meant to do that one, did you?
Kind of.
Or are you smart? Here is Destiny going to be pulled. They're going to go in on towards Freeze. Half HP, no HP. He's dead. And they're going to go for this inhibitor turret. And I think they're going to have it away here. One more attack will get it down. Bjergsen going on towards 0-0 is pulled up. But there's the stun. 0-0. Is he going to be able to escape? Yes, for now. But there is the ulti. The Zhonya's going to cancel it out completely. NukeDuck is left to destroy that inhibitor. Bottom inhibitor has gone down as well. In the meantime, Mima here is trying to get in on towards them, but honestly, they've got enough damage to finish off. Dexter actually getting that one. There's a Cataclysm over towards Maluno, and another finely executed plan from Lemondogs gets them two, and now a third inhibitor.
And that's pretty much going to be game for them. They should be able to push these waves in, and they have carved this down for quite a while, Mima down for quite a while. And Joe, I think Lemondogs are going to pick up a very easy win.
This is going to be the victory for them. 9-3, not spectacular in kills, but the plan that Lemondogs came with here was perfectly executed, and has even more solidified that position at the top of the table. You see, Ninjas in Pajamas not happy after that one. You can understand why. They almost... It almost felt like they weren't really in that game at all, really, ever. There was like this strange laning phase where nothing, like literally nothing happened except that fight for the dragon control. And then 2 kills at top. And from there, Lemondogs had all the control. They took the dragon, they took the blue buffs every single time. 0-0. He spent 10 minutes, maybe even more of that game in the top lane pushing, taking golems, taking red buff, and just going through that cycle over and over and over again. The control was brilliant from Lemondogs.
And it really makes me worry about Ninjas in Pajamas. I mean, losing 2 games right now, getting dropped towards the bottom of the standings. Now they have to go home or go back to their hotel and kind of just recoup. Like, they need to come out tomorrow swinging. They cannot afford to lose any more games. When you look on the other side of that, Lemondogs, 2 wins today, have been looking phenomenal all day long, and I think they only need like 1 or 2 more wins to lock in their top position.
Yeah, they're getting ever so close to that one. I mean, they've certainly just opened up a gap that the gap was already there, but they've opened that gap even further. And with how close things are, that's pretty much the only area where it's not so close anymore. And also down at the bottom, funnily enough, the top and the bottom spot are quite wide gaps from the closest teams to them there. But Lemondogs, it's hard really to summarize that game in terms of you know, what happened, because it was Lemondogs having a plan and just nailing it. Honestly, they nailed that game.
The thing is, I want to give NIP credit, because what you both pointed out during the game was that NIP were not giving Dexter the opportunity to gank.
Yeah.
The only possibility was bot lane, but it was Mimers, so you can just kind of jump away. But they were able to shut him down, and even though they did that, Dexter still found a way around it. He's like, all right, I'm getting shut down. I'll just keep farming. I'll get up a couple of items, and when we're ready to start fighting, when we're ready to go for Dragon, we'll make that happen. And that's actually a huge point for Lemondogs.
Well, congratulations to Lemondogs. Another great result for them, taking down Ninjas in Pajamas. Now let's head over to Demon and Quickshot for a look at some of the key plays from that last game.
Thank you very much, Joe and Jason, and apologies to North America for waiting for that game. It's safe to say it was a good 20-minute farming session now, and effectively farmed their way to victory for Lemondogs.
I'm kind of on like 2 sides of this, because Joe was saying we need to break down the key plays. I don't think there were any.
No.
I'm going to be very frank and honest here. Lemon Dogs strangled the life out of NIP from the laning phase. They out-farmed them. They put a couple of ganks together. I think there was like 5 kills on the board by about 30 minutes on the board. And that was all do land a Destiny, get a cold card, let Tabs destroy somebody with Twitch. Rinse and repeats, push the lanes, take dragons. That was a farm-to-win game as far as Lemon Dogs are concerned.
And honestly, Ninjas in Pajamas didn't pressure them anywhere. They didn't force their hand, so they were happy to just like, well, if you're going to let us play this way, we're just going to win the game.
So there's 2 things that I really want to highlight about the Ninjas in Pajamas team. First and foremost, Bjergsen was playing Karthus. Now, Bjergsen as a player is so mechanically skilled, and he's a playmaker. I like to see him on champions like Zed, like Ari, where he can get in your face, where he can do things. Even champions like Rise, where he can run around and make plays happen. Karthus, you're reliant on team fights. They never fought. Secondly, that's the second game today that Mima has been seriously out-farmed by his opponents. Wicked did it earlier in the day. Even with Wicked dying, he had a 30 to 40 CS advantage. And now against Zoro Zero, that was about 60 or 70 by the 25-minute mark.
Well, it's safe to say we can see why Lemon Dogs have been destroying all their opponents, and we're going to get to hear from someone on the team themselves. It's going to be Zoro Zero standing by with Shocks.
Thanks very much. Congratulations on a victory, 0-0. Also 2-0 here today. Tell me about your choice of summoner spells on Vladimir. We saw a Flash and a Ghost. What were you so afraid of that you thought you needed both of them?
It's not really because I was afraid. It's more because it's so powerful, and Vladimir is so powerful to have 2 utility summoner spells. I could also run with Ghost Ignite or Flash Ignite, but I decided to take both.
And how do you think it was that you were able to roll over NIP so quickly? You didn't seem to have any trouble with them.
I think we controlled the entire map so perfect this game. Like, we bought a lot of pink wards. At every point we knew where the jungler was. There was like, we couldn't get surprised in any way. We just controlled every single moment of the match.
So another victory for you guys at the top of the tables, guaranteed to go to the playoffs. And well, when people vote, they never vote for you guys to win. This, I think, was one of the first times while your colleagues, other teams you scrim against, also say, wow, they're a really good team. Does that bother you in any way that you are a very good team, that you don't seem to get that recognition from the fans?
Nah, it doesn't bother us at all, really. We know that all the other teams have huge fan base and stuff, and right now we're building up. Like, in the start of the season, we got like 2% each voting, but now it's, luckily, we're going up to the 30% and stuff, so it's improving.
So finally, 3 games left here over the next 2 days. Is there anyone who can stop you?
I would like to say no, but probably some teams will probably surprise us at some point.
All right, thank you very much and good luck the rest of the day.
Thank you very much.
All right, time to check in with Joe and Jason once more to tell us how today's games affected the standings.
They've made them even closer. What can we say from that one? Absolutely incredible day of games, 8 that we've seen so far. So let's just dive straight into it then and have a look at our results from the day then and what we've seen. So we started off the day, it feels like well, it was hours ago, silly me. It was around about 8 hours ago, in fact, Jason, just to say. Alternate versus SK, let's get onto it. SK picking up the victory there from that one. Then we moved over to EG versus Ninjas in Pajamas, with EG having another good win. Then Gambit versus Meet Your Makers, which was a pretty one-sided game in favor of Gambit. Same goes for Lemon Dogs versus Fnatic, a one-sided win by Lemon Dogs.
And of course, Meet Your Makers versus Evil Jesus coming in right after that, where NYM had a good lead, but EG was able to claw back in and take that victory. Then a Classico SK versus Fnatic, where SK picked up that victory. Gambit versus Ulta, another clash of the Titans, you'll see, I'll say at least, where Gambit came out ahead with that win. And then, of course, that very one-sided game by Lemon Dogs taking the victory over NIP. And with all those wins coming in today, like you said before, it only made the standings closer.
Yeah, so let's have a look at them then. Let's get into the standings here and try to make some sense of them. Lemon Dogs are at the top, everybody. I'm pretty sure now. I mean, they need basically one victory, right? And
if they beat Gambit, they're first place guaranteed.
Yeah, if they need one victory and then they're through. They've got 3 more games to be played from all teams here, so they're pretty much safe in that top spot. But that could all change. Then we have the next group of teams tied for second place: Fnatic, EG, Gambit, Alternate, all on 13 wins, 12 losses right now. And it's tied for 5th position, technically. 12 wins and 13 losses for both SK and Ninjas in Pajamas. Then we have Meet Your Makers, who are already guaranteed to have that 8th spot going out through into, well, for the relegation for them.
It's so crazy to see that Alternate were at the top, like top 2, dropped down that far, and they see NIP were really high up. They dropped down to like 7th place pretty much. like just from 1 or 2 games. It is just ridiculous. It's mind-blowing how close this is going to be. And it's all going to come down to that final game, so you guys better tune in and watch those.
Yeah. Set your alarm clocks if you're in North America, and well, just wake up at a normal hour if you're in Europe. That's certainly a good thing. You're not going to want to miss any of the action tomorrow. It's going to be intense. We'll have 6 games from that. And of course, enjoy North America. Sorry to keep you guys waiting, but it's coming straight up after this. So let's go over to Shocks for some final thoughts.
Thanks, guys. If you thought anything would be decided here in Europe, you were mistaken, because it's not. There's so much more to come, and we're just about finished here for today. But don't go anywhere, because Day 2 of North America Super Week is just about to begin, and they were kind enough to wait until we were done so you wouldn't have to choose. So stay right here to catch all 6 NA games. It's going to be kicking off with CLG versus Cloud9, followed by Velocity taking on Curse, and of course 4 more matches. And our Super Week continues tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central European Summer Time. That is 5 a.m. Pacific, with 6 more games. We'll see SK Gaming versus MYM, Evil Geniuses versus Gambit, Lemon Dogs versus Alternate, Ninjas in Pajamas takes on Fnatic, Gambit battles SK Gaming, and finally Lemon Dogs versus Evil Geniuses. Thank you very much. We're just going to stay here and watch the NA games, and I expect you to do the same, and we'll see you tomorrow.